Hey YouTube, it's DenverPrepper, coming to you on the food segment I promised, taking it in my car. I wanted to go over what we're doing as far as food and how to prepare sensibly. I mean, you can dump 50, 60 grand into MREs and food easily. We've probably dumped a good amount into MREs, and I look back and it's like, well, I don't have very many. So I know last time we talked about MREs being a good food source, and they are, don't get me wrong, but our strategy has shifted a bit. So we are relying on MREs to a certain extent, but there's also canned goods. We live within literal blocks of 3 or 4 grocery stores, so we're taking advantage of those sales, putting things back, rotating our stock, doing things that others have recommended on YouTube. So there's lots of good people. There's nothing fancy, Such, 00. They're gun guys. Don't get me wrong. They are definitely gun guys, but they're also guys who understand how to prepare. Why are you going to prepare? What are you going to do to prepare? What is prepare? So they kind of break that down. One thing I wanted to go over again is our food plan. Our food plan is MREs. They're really expensive these days. $98 to almost $100 for a case. A case is 12, and assume that there's going to be 3 or 4 in there that you just can't stomach. You just can't do it. Lima beans and eggs were one of those ones. I starved that meal because I just couldn't do it. I went without eating for 2 days because that's all there was. I couldn't do it. It would make me retch every time I tried them. So plan, especially if you're getting the military grade MRE, generation 2 or above, plan that there's going to be 3 or 4 in the case you don't like. So plan for that. So really you're paying almost $12 a meal when you weed out the ones you don't like. You may want to save those for others or whatever the case may be. I know I keep preaching this, but really, Christ is the only way to prepare. I can have all the food I want, all the guns and all the military training and all the cars and the 4x4s and all these other things to prepare. But if I don't have Christ, I don't have anything. Those of you who are Christians watching this, I believe it's very important to show the love of Christ through preparing for your neighbor. There's lots of our neighbors who scoff at us because we prepare. Oh, you Christians, you guys are planning for a day that's never going to come. By God, I hope they're right, but the Bible tells us differently. We are coming to an age and a day very quickly where things are turning very, very bad, very, very foul, very, very fast. And you guys all know this. That's why you're watching prepping videos on YouTube. So prep for your neighbor. Maybe, my wife started doing this for a neighbor of ours that hit some really hard times, and God bless her for it, and he's blessed us mightily for that. But what she'd start doing is looking at the buy one, get one free sales at grocery stores, and so we'd buy our meat, whatever we were going to eat for the week. She'd also get one free. That would go to our neighbor. Being the hard-hearted guy I am, I didn't really realize why she was doing it until, love of Christ. It's like, oh honey, that's why you're doing it. Okay, you know what? Do it and do more of it. So she really got me thinking about preparing for our neighbor, because our neighbor has not prepared. They still haven't prepared. Most of our neighbors are still laughing at us because we prepare. And you know what? Okay. But I know whose door they're going to knock on when they get hungry. So I've got to prepare. Not only for my family's safety, but to show these people the love of Christ. To show them that God has their needs in mind. And if he uses my dime to do it, so much the better. He's given us everything we have. So if he uses my money to do it, then it's his money to use. So that's what he does. So those of you who are Christians, please prepare for your neighbor. I know sometimes it's hard, sometimes they laugh at you, but when they're hungry, you know whose door they're going to come knocking on. So please prepare for your neighbor. Show them the love of Christ in that manner. Also, when we're talking love of Christ and we're talking food, we're going to look at first aid kits. Got to have first aid kits in our food packaging. Because what are we taking with us when we bug out? Taking food, right? Well, if you put a first aid kit with your food, you're not going to forget the first aid kit. I'll be doing sections on bug out bags and other things later, but for right now, we're talking about food and small sundries. You know, I really have to brush my teeth. I don't have the greatest, choppers on the face of the earth through neglect and all kinds of other things, but now that I've been taking care of them, and God has helped me there, 20 years, without seeing a dentist, and my teeth are fine. So, praise God for that. But now that I have seen a dentist, now that I'm taking more serious care of not only my, my body, but my spirit and everything else as well, I like to brush my teeth, and I have to, more than twice a day. I have to plan for that, right? So we need toothpaste, and we need toothbrushes, and we need all these other things that, frankly, when I started preparing, I didn't think about. So more stuff to... there's a cop that pulled over somebody over there. So more stuff to think about. There's a Walgreens sitting in front of me. There's restaurants. There's 6 restaurants really within walking distance of my car right now. But soon there won't be. Soon the economy is not going to a great place, folks. So please prepare. Please prepare for your neighbor. Please show your neighbor the love of Christ. Please show those who really don't like the love of Christ. And if you haven't committed your life, I would think about it. I would get with the pastor and say, well, why does the Bible, lots of people say, why does the Bible have inconsistencies? I'm not going to get into that right now, but ask somebody who knows. Ask somebody who, like a pastor, or, go up to a Christian and say, why does the Bible have inconsistencies? And get some answers. But really, folks, if you don't have Christ, you don't have prep. So that's all I'm going to say on that. That's our food segment. When we get the basement set up, I'll go ahead and show you my prep area. Basement's still flooded with stuff, so we need to sell off a bunch of stuff and get rid of everything down there, clean out the basement, and then start in. So my prep area is pretty much all over the house right now. So we're trying to concentrate everything in one room, the basement. But seriously, folks, clear out a space in your basement and say, this is my prep area. Start buying little cans of food here and there. Don't go nuts buying MREs and survival mountain food and dehydrated this and dehydrated that. Eat what you would normally eat. Buy what you would normally buy that is non-perishable. But buy a little extra and put that away. And then buy a little extra the next time, put that away. Then buy a little extra and then use the old stuff that you bought a couple times before. Start rotating your stock like that. And before long, you'll have all these canned goods. I promise you, it goes pretty quick. So food prep is important, medical prep is important, first aid kits, things like that. Patriot Nurse has a really great channel on medical prep for SHTF. Look at her channel. I'll be listing this in the description as well. But look at her channel and really start preparing. And those of you who are Christians, please, 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 show the love of Christ through food and preparation to your neighbor. Those of you who think I'm a wacko, well, I'd say that's pretty evident. So, you're not that observant, because I am a wacko. But I'm a wacko who loves my neighbor enough to prepare for them as well. So those of you who have neighbors that won't prepare for them. Make sure that they're taken care of too. Because remember, we're all God's children. We all of us are God's children, believers or not. And we need to be taken care of. God bless, and we'll talk to you later.